Hi everyone, Toby here from Blighton Bridge Model Railway, and today we're going to be looking at the new semaphore signals from Dapol. As I said in my previous video, I use automatic semaphore signals to go alongside my automatic braking. In the box you obviously get the signal as well as a switch, the servo and the instructions. On the bottom of the servo there's a switch for fine tuning and a switch to turn the signal arm bounce on and off. After installing this on the layout, I found it was a really nice product, so stay tuned, I'll show you how I installed it and how I set it up. I started out by measuring the width of the bracing and marking it out on the board, so I can make sure I had room for the servo underneath the layout. After that I placed the servo with the signal just popped in the top on the layout, just to get a rough idea where I wanted it to sit. Once I was happy with the positioning, I put a mark either side so I could decide where the hole was going to go for the signal to go through. I then marked this out with a pencil and a ruler. Where the lines meet is where the hole needed to go. So placing the signal back down, you can see that the stem of the signal roughly lines up with where the two lines on the board are. So knowing where I want the signal, I drill a pilot hole in the baseboard. I then go back through that hole with a bigger drill to make room for the stem of the signal. And it was just a little bit too tight still, so I got the drill and just drilled it out a little bit more. And after that it fits in the hole quite nicely. For those who haven't seen one of these signals before, the bottom part of the signal is threaded and there's this plastic nut that just screws on the bottom, and that clamps it up to the bottom of the baseboard. So I've taken the nut back off and I'm just poking it through the board to get the positioning. And once I've got it in place, I just pass a couple of coaches past it to make sure I've got clearance. With the signal in the right place and with plenty of clearance, I can now put the nut on the bottom to clamp the signal to the baseboard. Once this is done, I push the solenoid up onto the bottom of the signal. It's a little bit fiddly and there are parts on there you can break, so you've got to be careful, but it goes on with a bit of a snap. As I said earlier in the video, you get this switch in the packet. I'm not actually going to be using the switch, but I will be using the plug and the wiring. The wire that comes attached to the switch isn't particularly long, so bear that in mind if you are going to install one of these on your layout. The instructions are nice and straightforward. You've got a brown wire for stop, the yellow wire is the common, and the orange wire is proceed. The plug just goes straight into the back of this little socket on the back of the servo. Also on the bottom of the servo there is a red and a black wire. These will need connecting to a auxiliary 12 volt bus wire. I couldn't get any footage of me doing this because it was too cramped under the layout, but the positive needs to go to the positive and the negative to the negative. After connecting the black and the red to the 12 volt supply, I tested the signal before I cut the switch off. It was all working correctly and I was happy with the way it was set up, so I cut the switch off so that I could strip the wires, tin them and put them in the back of the Brock. For those who haven't seen the previous video, this Brock unit is a detector relay. It has two relays, one connects to the ABC board and one connects to the signal. I have got this set up elsewhere on the layout, but it uses the older type dapole motor signal and I couldn't get the reliability that I was after without having a servo signal. Unlike the older motor style signal, the new servo signals know the difference between red and green, so they'll give a much improved reliability. So with the wires stripped and tinned, I've got on with putting them in the back of the Brock relay. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, the colour coding for the wires is quite clearly laid out on the instructions. The yellow is the common, so that wants to go up the middle of the relay so it can feed either side of the servo. The orange is for proceed, so green, that wants to go to the normally closed side of the relay. Lastly, the brown wire is for stop, so red on the signal, and that wants to go to the normally open side of the relay. section clear, you can see the signal's green, and as soon as I place a loco on the track, it goes to red. And when I lift it back up, back to green, pop it back down, back to red, so it's all working. So with that all seemingly behaving, let's see how it gets on with a proper test. That's it for this video. These new signals do seem to be an incredible improvement on the old ones. They're a lot quieter, they're really nice and simple to install, and I'm really impressed with the product. If you found this video useful, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.